You're not alone if you want to mix something with your dog's normal food to increase the flavour and increase the interest for them. But what actually is a safe topping for dog food?
Welcome to the Call the Vet Show, the podcast that helps keep your furry family as healthy as possible so they can live the full and happy life they deserve. And here's your host, veterinarian Dr. Alex Avery.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Call the Vet. I'm veterinarian Dr. Alex, and I'm here to give you the information that you need to help your pet live as happy and healthy a life as possible. And feeding your dog the best diet for them, the best additions, the best treats are really common concerns and really common questions that I get asked. So today's question really is a fantastic one, and I know it's going to benefit a whole lot of other dog lovers just like you. But before I jump into this, if you did want to take a deeper dive into feeding your pet, you can find out which is the best for your dog by looking at my comparison between raw and cooked commercial diets, which I have in my free ebook. And you can download that today by simply heading over to ourpetshealth.com/raw diet guide, and I'll leave a link in the show notes as well. So this comprehensive guide talks about the risks and benefits of raw feeding and cooked commercial diets and kibble. So it's definitely something that's really relevant to every dog owner out there. But for now, let's jump into today's question.
I put on my dog's food, sometimes chicken or sometimes turkey. I put some white rice, noodles, oats, and beans. Are those good for my dogs? Thank you.
So that's a great question, Gloria, and thanks for taking the time to record that and send that in. Now, if you've got a question like Gloria, you can also get your question answered at callthevet.org. And there's nothing wrong with mixing other things into your dog's commercial cooked diet, into their kibble, into their wet food, if you want to provide a little bit more interest, and potentially you might be thinking a little bit more healthy additions to their diet, depending, of course, on what you're feeding them. The first thing to consider is how much to actually mix in with their food. And the general recommendation really is that any treat or topping or diet addition really should make up no more than about 10% of your dog's daily calorie intake. If we're giving too much, then there's the potential that we're actually going to be feeding far too many calories, which can lead to obesity, which is a massive problem that's sweeping through our pet dog and cat population. But also the diet might become unbalanced, which can lead to deficiencies and an actual reduction in health. And of course, you also need to reduce your dog's diet accordingly so that you're not feeding them their full allocation and then adding things on top of that. The next consideration with choosing a topping for your dog's food is actually why you're giving that. Is it because they've got a poor appetite and so you're going to need something really super tasty to tempt them to eat? For example, if they're unwell. Is it just to provide a little bit more variety, or is it to make it more healthy? So those are important considerations. Clearly, if your dog is not very well and they're not really wanting to eat, then you should also be talking to your veterinarian to make sure that there's not other treatment that they need. And with that in mind, you need to consider whether your dog is healthy or suffering from another disease which is being managed, especially if this management involves their diet. So, for example, if they're diabetic, then actually consistency of feeding is really important. And you also want to be avoiding sugars and simple carbohydrates, adding those things to their diet. If your dog suffers from pancreatitis, you want to be avoiding fats. If they've got kidney disease or heart failure, you want to be avoiding high salt foods. So taking your pet's health into consideration is also really important with choosing the best topping and a safe topping for your dog. And so if your dog is unwell with any of these conditions, you should really consult with your veterinarian before adding anything of significance to their diet. So with all that in mind, what are my recommended safe toppings for dogs? Well, to start with, I don't think you can go far wrong with raw vegetables. So things like carrots, broccoli and green beans make great snacks, great additions. They provide different textures as well as different flavors for your dog. They're very healthy and they're low in fat. So they're going to be healthy and great for pretty much any dog. And for another benefit, dogs also really tend to enjoy these additions to their food. Unprocessed grains could be something to add to your dog's food, so brown rice, rolled oats. So dogs perfectly are able to digest starches and carbohydrates, and they can be a valuable source of additional nutrients and vitamins to a dog. Another healthy addition is egg. So that is a great protein source. It's very safe and dogs really enjoy it. Natural yogurt might be something you want to consider, especially if your dog has a bit of an upset stomach, so it acts as a type of probiotic. But again, it's a very different texture. Now, you don't want to overdo yogurt because dogs, as they age, they lose the ability to digest lactose. So give too much and it's likely your dog will get diarrhea. But a small amount can be a really useful addition to your dog's food that they'll really enjoy. Oily fish might be another consideration. So something like sardines can be a really great source of omega-3 fatty acids, which can help with coat condition, skin condition, reduce allergies, improve arthritis, for example. So there can be really great benefits to supplementing your dog with omega-3 fatty acids, and giving oily fish can be really beneficial here. We need to be aware again that oils are very rich in calories, so we don't want to overdo this and cause your dog to gain weight. And then finally, just something like a little bit of chopped up boiled chicken is always a firm favourite for dogs. You do need to be careful if you're giving human foods and adding that and mixing that with your dog's food or using it as a topping, because certain human foods can be very dangerous for dogs. So garlic and onions, for example, can cause red blood cell destruction, which can be really dangerous. Xylitol is a common sweetener that can be deadly to dogs in a really small dose. So it is important that you take good care if you're adding any human food to your dog's diet. So that's an overview of some safe toppings or mixes that you can add to your dog's food. Remember, you can check out that free guide over at ourpetshealth.com/raw diet guide to look at the comparison between raw and cooked commercial and kibble diets. It's something that you should really look into if you're thinking of changing your dog's diet or you've heard good things about either of those. But until next time, that's it for today's episode. I'm veterinarian Dr. Alex. This is the Call the Vet Show. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, take care.
Thanks for listening to Call the Vet. For full show notes and any links mentioned in today's show, head over to callthevet.org, where you can also submit your question to be featured on an upcoming episode. We'll see you next time.